how would you define your target audience?
That doesn't even matter. It's an individual who wants to either has tried to go after, to create their dream life, or they feel burned out and they're exhausted and they just feel like they're hitting a block or there's a ceiling and they just can't excel. They just don't know what it is to get to that point. Those are the people I serve and help because I share.
Welcome to Visit Vegas Places. This is your host, Coyle. How are you guys doing today? This session, I'm going to dedicate those to those who accomplish things or something that was first in their first time accomplishing it. I want to give them their rewards and their flowers, and also those that are the first time in the family that have it accomplished. I want to congratulate you guys. Of course, there's a lot of pressure that comes with being the first at anything, and that's whether if it's in your family, amongst peers in schools, or on the job. It comes with responsibility and highly set expectations. Can't forget the obstacles from those who want to see you fail, hence the haters. Now, my guest, he has conquered that roadmap, and he also helps others conquer theirs now. I want to introduce you to Victor Manzo Jr., owner and host of The Mindful Experiment, and also author of Decoding the Matrix. Victor, how you doing? Thank you for joining me.
I'm doing amazing, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, no problem. It's well deserved. You're an interesting guy. You have a great background. You're doing great things also, I see. One thing, Victor, is to start off, how would you define your target audience?
Yeah, my target audience, if I had to put an age on it, it's like between age 30 to 55, but that doesn't even matter. It's an individual who wants to either has tried to go after, to create their dream life, or they feel burned out and they're exhausted and they just feel like they're hitting a block or there's a ceiling and they just can't excel. They just don't know what it is to get to that point. Those are the people I serve and help because I share how powerful you really are. We rediscover your greatness. We work on universal laws and spiritual truths and really help you understand how all you have to do is just some minor tweaking, and we can create the life that you desire, and we can make it easier. It doesn't have to be hard, and we've been told all our lives, work harder, work smarter, not harder. But no one teaches that too much. And so that's kind of those are the people I help out. And those are the people that I really, who are looking to create a better life for themselves. Those are the people I serve.
Sounds good, Victor. Now, all my small business owners and entrepreneurs that are tuned in, definitely you want to stay tuned in because this is something that, that might catch your ears or you might be interested in, especially after that first year and second year. I can be a witness to that after that first and second year. You can, kind of lead to like, man, I'm burnt out. Which route should I go? And that's whether if it's looking good or not looking good. That first and second year always tends to be the hardest. Now, Victor, you did earlier, I was reading and researching on you. You had health challenges as a teen, and that inspired you to be a chiropractor. Again, congratulations to being the first doctor in your family. Let that be known as is a note. And then you stated that you got in tune with your soul. And this got to me. You said you found the formula to follow, which started your life-changing experience, that formula. Break down that formula that you found to follow. We all need that recipe.
Yeah. If I had to put it in a formula, make it simple, and there's a lot that goes to this. So there's a lot behind it. But if I had to, simplify it in a certain way, the formula is real simple. The first thing you have to do in your life in order to even create the opportunity to even achieve that and so forth is you got to have vision in your life. You have to have a vision. It's so critically important. It's one of those things, even when I was in business school, we talked about vision, but it was really more the mission statement that they really focused on. And vision is so powerful. I mean, what you see in your mind's eye is what you're going to create in your reality. And in the Bible, it states, Proverbs 29:18 states that if the people don't have a vision, they won't perish. They don't perish. So it's like, it's critical for you to have a vision. That is the most elemental part of it. And then the second part, is looking at from an emotional standpoint, right? Because you got the vision, but now you have to put it to life. That's what emotions do. Right. It's energy in motion. It gives life to things. It creates magnetism. And so you want to focus on high vibes, things that make you feel good. Sometimes it's old memories, but it can be whatever you want. You get to choose this. It's whatever puts you in that mood and gets you excited and makes you get into that realm. This is where that's the second element when it comes into things. The third is then you want to get your senses involved, right? So the power of visualization is so powerful in so many ways. And this is where you're actually seeing yourself being that person. You're getting in the mind's eye, you got the emotions involved, and now you're acting it out in your mind. This is critical because your mind cannot tell the difference what you put here and what you see with your eyes. There is no difference. So whatever you put in your mind's eye, your brain thinks it's real. Your subconscious thinks it's real. Right. That's why you can think of a fear and all of a sudden your heart rate will go up, your blood pressure rises because your brain doesn't know that it's real or fake. And so when you understand that principle, now you have something you can use. And so it's tapping into that and really getting into the senses and feeling this. What does it smell like? How does it feel when you're walking? What is all this stuff? Because the more you can activate that brain, the more you're going to make that more of a reality. And you're getting more laser focus and tuning in to exactly what it is you want to create. And then, the last one is just effortless action. Because if you do the first three steps right, you'll know what's congruent and not congruent. This is something I teach with my clients a lot about feeling and tapping into your body and knowing. Don't think you have it right, because that's always going to mess you up. It's more of tapping into this body, this beautiful technology. And when you do that, you always have this guided system known as intuition to guide you in where you need to go. So if you feel like you want to go in a certain place, that in those feelings, that body is going to give you a feeling, a sensation to know that. And I teach my clients a lot when I speak on leveraging your mind. What that means is that you can teach your brain, because your brain is always looking for patterns. You can teach it how to be aware of this. And then it's going to tell you, hey, this is the feeling we get. We're in that vibe flow state, that really powerful magnetic state, or it could be the opposite. And you can train yourself to do that. So I'll say those are the four things. If I simplified it in that way, that's the formula.
Right. Now that is very mindful. Now, at the end of the day, a lot of people don't talk about this, but like you said, the mind, like you said, I'm getting that feeling. And then when you feel it, it's equivalent almost of every day you have a pattern and you're working on a project, and then your mind is telling you like, hey, get on this project, or do it like this. And a lot of people can think that and they can feel that, but there's a disconnection, I guess, from that action, of actually taking that action. And everything that you stated in some form of fashion, there has to be a solitude time where you have to be in tune with that and take action. Now, with that action involved, is that close? Would you tie that into knowing or being aware of sense of urgency? Do you think, Victor?
It'll come to you. I mean, like here's an example. Like my third book I wrote, I have a goal of writing 30 books in my life. So 2018 wrote my first one. 2019 wrote my second one. Well, 2020 I was supposed to write my third. Didn't happen. 2021 I was supposed to write my fourth. Well, I didn't even get to my third yet. But 2022, right at the end of 2021, 2021, it came to me. All of a sudden, I'm like, I have to write this book. And all of a sudden, the Matrix kept calling to me. And all of a sudden, I'm like, the Matrix? What Matrix? What are we talking here? And then I started seeing in my head, I was getting images of like conditioning and looking at the brain and neurology. And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm feeling this. This is why I try to teach my clients a lot. Like, you don't have to figure these things out, because if you get in the right vibration, the things come to you. We've been told all our life we need to chase our dreams. And that's actually a trap, because the truth is what you seek is going to come seeking you. And so if you're chasing your dream, you're never going to get it. You have to have it come to you. And it's the same thing with the ideas, the thoughts, creating something. Because when you are really just focusing on your vision, that's why vision is so critical. Coming back to that again, then all of a sudden, when you're in that vibration, the ideas, the things that are going to come to align to get you there are going to help you. But the feeling's going to tell you if you're in alignment with that to take the action. Like, because at December 2021, all of a sudden I was like decoding the matrix, and I was just like, wow, that feels really good. I'm like, I like that feeling. It wasn't because it was the catchy name or tied to the matrix. It had nothing to do with that. It was just, it felt good to me. And I was like, that feels congruent. I'm like, you know what? Decoding the Matrix, reached out to my creator and said, hey, can you put a cover together for me? I want to see it before I even start writing the book. I wasn't going to write the book for another 3 months, but I wanted to see the cover because I had a vision in my head of what it looked like. As soon as I told him, he showed me, and I go, dang, that's pretty good. I'm like, wow, you're almost dead on. I was like, let's tweak it a little bit. Here's a couple things we just fine-tuned. But I'm like, other than that, this is what I saw, what I wanted to create. And then a couple months later, I didn't say I was going to write the book 3 months later. It ended up happening that way. I want to make sure I clarify that because I was like, I'll start writing the book in February. It'll be done by end of April, or middle of January to end of February. And I'll say, okay, by end of March, April, I wanted to release the book. Well, yeah, life got in the way. Things told me it wasn't right. I was thinking about writing it, and I was like, I kept having this block feeling. So I was like, all right, I trust that. And then all of a sudden, I was like, okay, middle of March, I'm like, I need to start writing this book. I feel like I got the urgency started to come. And for me, it shows up like anxiousness. I get like, I have to do this or else something's going to happen. So I was like, I need to get this done. Right. And when I talk about effortless action in that book, my third book, it took less than 22 hours to write that book. Now that's total writing. Now I'm not trying to brag. Some people say that's crazy. That's unbelievable.
Wow, yes.
There's no bragging with me. I'm just trying to press upon you how powerful this stuff is when you take effortless action, when you're in alignment, when you're in that vibe, the information just comes and you just start. And it's amazing. It's just, I don't even give credit to the book because it was really just me being in this flow state, being in that energy, being in that vibe. And all of a sudden I'm just writing and I'm not even thinking. I'm just writing and writing and writing. And then I look back later and I go, I hope this flowed. I hope it connected the dots. I hope it had a general idea to it. But that's when you have people to help you with that to make sure it does that.
Wow, that's beautiful. Now, it's one thing that got me too when you said that. That's when you was explaining about your book and how long it took. Now, I'm currently working on that book. It's an ebook for creating content. But I'm going to be honest with you also. It's been at least going on 3 months now. I have the basic line out, but I haven't really dug in, like you said, the effortless. Now, actually it was last week and then today I continued, but today it really tapped in. And that's why it's funny that you're even bringing that up. Today it was bugging me almost in a sense. It's been bugging me, dude. Like, man, it's almost like the Lord is telling me like, you're about to miss out if you don't do this like I'm telling you to do. You need to do it like right now. So I'm thinking in my head, cool, I'm going to get into it. I'm listening. I'm going to be disciplined and I'm going to go ahead and get this down. And I'll probably get at least, a couple of pages or a couple of outlines that I have outlined in the way that I have it structured, and I like to have it structured and break down in pieces so I can really get involved in one piece and not forget anything or move on and then have to go back. So once I started like effortlessly, like you said, it exceeded what I expected to do. And I didn't even feel it. Do that make sense? Like I could have kept going more. I could have kept going on. And I totally didn't expect it. By the time I finish, I'm 2 hours in. I look at my paper and I'm like, oh my God. And now what if I didn't obey, or be disciplined? I wouldn't even. And I'm thinking like, what if I would have just did this 2 weeks ago? What would I have? What product would I have now? And then when you think that, it makes that sense of urgency just go, gotta, that hunger. But it's funny you mentioned that. But a lot of people, they dwell on that, and it's almost like the anticipation of the reality of it supersedes the actual, what's actually going to happen because our mind.
No, so true. I mean, we get so much. Like I remember when I wrote my first book, I had friends ask me, "How did you write this first book? What process did you use? I wanted the right one. Or did you do an outline map? Did you do this? Do you do that?" And I'm like, I'm going to give you advice that may not work for you. And I said, you got to do what works best for you. I go, all I did was write the title of the chapter, and then I just flowed. I mean, it was simple. And it's not like I just chose the title and then I said, I'll come back to it later. It was like, I was in that state, right? All of a sudden I'm in a state and I was like, all right, here's the title. What's going to be, let's have fun. And it's just if we can start to understand how to tap into that power, you're going to create stuff that's so much more powerful, huge, and you're going to do more. You're going to get more done in less time. Right. This is called the law of least effort. This is what I teach. This is what I preach, because when it comes to entrepreneurs and with the advice we hear and from self-help, personal development, motivational speakers, it's all about grind out, overwork. You got to outwork your competition. You have to put in, if you want to be successful after the first year or second year, you got to average out 68 hours a week. And I'm just like, What are you trying to do to these people? This is not how the universe works. This is not how the law of nature works. Hell, your body doesn't even work that way. Your heart doesn't even do that. I'm like, everyone thinks the heart works all the time. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It only works 9 hours a day. And people are like, no, what do you mean? It beats all the time. I said, then you don't understand how the heart works. I go, the heart makes one contraction and relaxes. makes another contraction, then it relaxes. So when you add up that time, it's only 9 hours in a day. But here we are saying that we have to grind and hustle all the time. And I was one of those products of those people. But then you wonder why entrepreneurs are burning out like crazy. But if we do something like what you just did, or what I'm talking about, then all of a sudden you only tap into it when you have the flow of energy for it. And then what only work you have to do, there is a grind and hustle, but it's totally different. It's just how do you keep yourself centered and keep yourself recharged to be in that space? You see, that's the difference. And this is what I teach a lot. And this is what I do for myself. So like I have a practice of meditation. I have a practice of journaling. I have a practice of gratitude. I have a practice of jumping in a cold tub that's 39 degrees every single day. I have practices of doing stuff. And I spend a lot of time in self-care, probably an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. And they're sometimes even longer. Like if I'm in a rut or I'm in stinking thinking, or I don't feel I'm just not in this creative space, I go and spend more time on myself, even though I have work to do and I have deadlines to hit and all these things.
Right.
I go spend more time on me. Maybe I'll go out to nature and ground. I'm going to hug a tree for a couple minutes. I know it sounds crazy, but there's research that shows it resets your nervous system. So I'm doing things with my background in chiropractic and neuroscience. How do I reset my nervous system so that my nervous system can shift back to growth and development? It can build up my reserves, and then I can be all of a sudden tapping into higher centers of my brain so then I can get back into that creative center. I can get back into being more me, with the essence of who I really am. And that's what I'll do. And what I've learned, and this took me years. I didn't master this. I'm still working on it. I don't have it mastered yet. My wife, God bless her soul, she is my everything. And she always tells me, she's like, when I told her, I was like, just last week I said this to her. I was like, you know what? If I'm in a rut, or if I'm just not thinking what I have to do next for the business, I'm just going to take a step back and go do an extra meditation, do some extra gratitude journaling, maybe go for a walk, go hiking a trail. And she's like, I love that. She goes, I want to hear more of that.
Yes. It's and when you said that, it's so inspiring. You're saying that. I was just battling also today with, should I take a break? Because I know like you get caught up with so many things, and I have so many moving tables, and we get caught up in like, let me get that well needed break, but then the guilt, that guilt feeling, you know what I mean? Like, am I getting behind, or am I being lazy? That's what I don't like to feel or think. Like, am I being lazy when I'm really needing to be taking a deserved break, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm being lazy? How do you get over that thought?
You got to figure out who conditioned that to you, because that's not you. That's not you at all. That's your inner critic, and your inner critic's not your voice. It's someone else's. So to really understand, you got to dive deep and see what that is. That's pure conditioning. Like for me, I know mine exactly. It was my dad. I remember on Saturdays, my mom would have us clean up, and I was always control of the TV area. So I had to wipe down the coffee table. It was a wooden one I can remember this like yesterday, green couches. I had to clean them up, figured out I had to vacuum. I did all these things, and then I can watch my cartoons, and I loved it. And then I went to go play bowling. But sometimes my dad would come home from work, and he would just see me. He's like, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing something? There's things we can get done around here. Not that he was being negative or anything. It was just in his mind, he's a workaholic. And so it taught me that I had to work all the time. That's what I was conditioned. And it took me so long to break that down, and still does to this day. So I'm being truthfully honest with you guys and transparent. That's why I said I haven't mastered this yet, but I'm getting better at it, because one of the things I'm trying to accomplish, and I'll write a book on this. I mean, there's already a book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I want to create the 6-hour work week. And I'm not trying to do an offset or an offshoot of him. I just want to share how I created a 6-hour work week for myself, and still declared what I was going to make, and make that, but also be satisfied. Because I think a lot of times too, and I got caught up in this trap, where when is enough? Right? And some people can make an argument and say, hey, we're always designed to expand and grow and go to the next level and go to the next level. Well, that's true from an ego side, but that's not true from a spiritual side. Correct. Spiritual side knows what enough is enough, and then it can live its life off that. And you can still support your lifestyle and do what you want. But if your dream is to be a billionaire, then all means go after it. No, I'm not saying that's wrong or that's that, but not everyone's designed or wants to be a billionaire, or at least do the work to get to that point. They would love to have the $1 billion, but to be the person you have to be to get to that level. I mean, I would love to be a billionaire, but the older I get, the less I have interest in it. The more I rather create experiences and values. And like, I have a new daughter, and I'm like, the things I want to invest into her are way more important than anything else in the world to me. And when if we have our second kid, if we're blessed with that and so forth, it's like, that's my legacy. That's where my energy goes.
Wow, man, you're a good man, a good coach, Vic. Like we can go on. I can have like a total 2 hour session with you. I want to get into what the mindful experiment is, not only your podcast, but let us know about the services you have to offer to small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So the mindful experiment, I'm almost at 400 episodes right now. It was a podcast that came out to share just the infinite potential of who we are and understand this experiment called life. That's really what it comes down to. And so I probably have interviewed now almost over 200 people on there. And I probably have about almost 200 episodes of myself. And so I'm always sharing tips and tricks about the mind, life, spirituality, some health things here and there from my end. And then my guests come from a whole broad. I mean, it's people from, I've had an intimacy expert. I've had people who are experts in relationships. I've had people who are straight hardcore neuroscientists. Because it's really the way I look at my podcast is anything that relates to help us elevate our game in life. I want to interview the person. Because I'm there to learn from it myself. I'm asking questions that I'm curious about for learning for my own self, but then my listeners get to gain from that also. So that's that. And it's just the mindfulexperiment.com. You can find it there. It's everywhere. And then services that I offer, I have one-on-one coaching that I do right now. That's the big thing that I'm doing to really help create transformation. I offer free coaching. If anyone's likes the vibe that I'm talking about, I do a one-on-one free coaching session. With that, we do have some online classes we're launching that we have. We do one on something called Money Mindset Essentials. And it's basically from the mindset perspective, what's holding you back financially. And I share some stories about my own self, how I tripled my sales in 2 years, and I had 5.5 increase in profits in just 2 years. Okay. And I didn't do anything different except my mindset. Literally 100% focused on the things I shared, the formula, those 4 steps that I shared with you. That's pretty much what I did. There's a couple other things I added to the mix, but it really was those 4 basics to that. And all of a sudden, it was amazing how I saw my practice go from a 5% pediatric volume base to 48% just shy in 6 months. And then it maintained between 40 and 60. And my goal was, and my vision was to have a 50% pediatric volume based practice. And it was amazing to see it happen that fast. And I did nothing, absolutely no new marketing. It was just being in the teaching how to leverage and the mind, how to get into a certain center of vibration, which we're talking about, because the same conversations I was having with patients, nothing different. All of a sudden they started to go, my daughter has this. Would you think that can help with them? Blah, blah, blah. My son has this. Or I have a friend who has a son or a daughter that has X, Y, and Z going on. You think this can help? And I'm just like, yeah, absolutely. And it just started. That's how it started.
Wow. That is beautiful. I can feel your energy and poise just over, the airwaves, which is beautiful. Now, audience, you want those 4 steps in depth, definitely the links are in the show notes where you can reach Victor. Victor, also let the audience know your social media handles in case they want to connect with you on social media.
Yeah. So to make it as easy as possible, you can go to my website, empoweryourreality.com, and all my socials are on the bottom left, but most of them are Dr. Vic Manzo, and that's going to be at Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. At LinkedIn, it's Dr. Manzo.
Yes, sir. You guys hear that? Now, before we let Dr. Vic off the chain, we got to find out, what do you like, this or that, baby?
I remember you telling me about this.
That, yes, sir. And then we're going to see how very, very Vegas you are. All my guests, we got to see how Vegas they are. It's not a right or wrong answer. It's just to educate the audience on the history of Las Vegas. So our first one for this or that, Dr. Vic. On your lounge, just leisure time around the house, are you more of a polo guy or a button-up guy?
If I had to choose between the two, button-up.
Button-up? Okay. Yeah. You prefer the shorts or the long sleeves?
Long, it depends on the weather, man. It depends on the weather. I would probably, I like long sleeve, to be honest. But I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee right now. If you ask me to put a button up, I'd be like, man, that's crazy. It's going to be hot. Yes, I don't know. Short sleeve, maybe. I might be. Depends on the type of shirt now we're talking about. Is it thin? Is it breathable?
Yes.
Yeah. But I would have to say button up, because polos, unless it's an extra large tall, they usually don't fit me too well.
Yes. And Dr. Vic, I meant to let my audience know we are venturing off in Tennessee. He did mention in Nashville, Cashville, Tennessee, Dr. Vic. So I do Vegas venture off, as you was aware through the email, where you're the first Tennessee. So you're representing the state. And our goal here at Visit Vegas Places is to reach to all of the states. We're actually going outside of the country now. We've been to Canada and then Hungary. 2 months ago, we did an interview in Hungary. So we're reaching out pretty far, which is good. And our take was it because here in Vegas, we're America's playground. So we get everybody here, but we don't get nothing from them. So I want to be that platform to be able to spotlight, what other states are doing instead of just all about Vegas. So that was the end goal of me doing Vegas Ventures Off.
I love that, brother. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, the next one, you might not either have one that I'm listening to you. Are you more of a tea or a coffee kind of guy?
Depends. I'm hard to pick. I usually drink green matcha tea most of the time.
Okay.
But there are times throughout the year, like 3 to 6 months out of the year, I'll do coffee, but most of the time it's decaf. But once in a while, I'll have coffee, like with caffeinated.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was raised coffee with my grandmothers and all of them, but I find myself not drinking it anymore. But I love green tea. I would drink green tea like water. But yes, green tea.
Yeah, I'm the same way. The green matcha, I've been doing that for, I don't know, 10 years now before it got popular. And so I call myself a matcha snob because I've studied it so long of what origin I like it at from Japan and the type of brand and all these other things. But but I was also like that with coffee too. To a certain point. Because when you go through chiropractic school, I never drank coffee at all until I went to chiropractic school. And I'm an Italian. I'm a first generation. So, I've had an espresso from time to time, but nothing continuous. But after when I got into chiropractic school, I was like, oh, yeah, we need coffee. I need that Starbucks, whatever, triple, quadruple espresso. I got 3-4 hours of studying here. I need something to jolt me up.
That's right. That's right. Starbucks. We Starbucks here is so big, but we have a new one that's blowing up, and they're called the Dutch Brothers. I don't know if you guys have that out there yet.
Not here,
Dutch
but
Brothers.
It sounds like I've heard of that before. Yeah, I'm originally from Chicago, so
okay.
I'm trying to think if it's there, but I wouldn't know offhand. I'm not the most expert when it comes to coffee.
Right. Okay. All right. So our last one for you, I know you got one for this one. Ruffles or Lay's?
Neither.
Oh man, what's your go-to snack?
If I had to choose, I don't really eat snacks too much, but if I had to choose, if it was a chip,
yes,
there is a company called Late July. I'm a health nut, so it has to be organic and all these other things.
Okay.
So Late July has one that reminds me of Jay's when I was a kid, having those nice, thin, crispy. They have a sour and cream one. And it's all organic and everything. And if I was going to eat something like that, that's the one I go to.
Okay. And you said it's called Late July. I can look them up, correct?
Yeah, they're called. There's a whole brand. They're Late July. They have organic tortilla chips and chips and who knows what else they have. But I know their sour cream one is the one. It's just because it brings back a memory as a kid. We used to eat the sour cream chips. Right. Yes. I don't even like sour cream. I don't like sour cream.
Right.
I don't at all. I hate it.
Me either.
I
think everybody who loves sour cream chips don't eat sour cream.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. My wife, when I told her that one time, she's like, "Oh, she put sour cream on." So I'm like, "Why did you just ruin my whole taco or burrito?" I'm like, "Just give it away. I don't want it." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "I hate sour cream." She's like, "But you like sour cream?" I'm like, "It doesn't taste the same. I don't know why."
No. It just definitely takes over anything you're eating. Oh man, I appreciate that, man. That was real fun. Now we're gonna see how very, very Vegas you are, Vic. You should be able to get this one. Okay, so this one to see how very, very Vegas Dr. Vic is. Name the women's professional basketball team in Las Vegas.
Oh,
women's professional basketball team.
Dang it, that's a good one. Didn't they? No, they didn't win. They're bluish, aren't they? Are they blue? No, I'm not gonna. I don't know it, but I'm trying to think.
We're black, gold, and red.
Yeah, see, that's how bad I am. No, I'm thinking of someone else. I have no idea.
No idea? All right, I'll give you 3 options, and then you can pick out the 3 options.
Okay? All right, that works.
All right. The Ponies,
Do I have to say yes to that
The
or no?
pokers.
Okay.
No. Here,
I was like, that was a long delay there. I was like, okay.
I know how I was trying to think of another one for you. So we got the ponies.
I should be watching you then. I can read your body language.
Oh, man. So we got either the ponies, okay? We have the crap players or the aces.
I'm gonna go with aces.
You got it, baby. It's
Just,
the aces.
Just
Vic.
the way your tone changed. I was like, it's aces.
It is the aces. And actually the history, man, it was 1997. They started as the Utah Stars. And then in 03 they moved to San Antonio, and from 03 to 2017 and then 2018 Las Vegas acquired the Aces, which play at the T-Mobile Arena now. So yes.
Very cool.
Right.
I learned something new now.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you, Dr. Vic, man. Wise man. I would definitely love to connect with you outside of the podcast also. If you don't mind, just give everyone your social media handles again. If you guys, the website is in the show notes. You can link to the website. I'll also have in the show notes his podcast link. And then also he has books where you can go purchase. Please mention the books also where they can purchase.
Yeah. So the handles again, Dr. Vic Manzo, DrVicManzo. That's on Facebook. That is on Instagram, and that is on TikTok. And then I'm on LinkedIn as at Dr. Manzo. The books, I got 3 of them. They're all on Amazon. I have them in audiobook, Kindle, and paperback. And so the first one was Rediscover Your Greatness. Second one's all about the walk in the dark that we all face, the challenges we face. And then my last one, my most recent, just came out in the May, Decoding the Matrix, all about that conditioning in life and how do we break out of the matrix.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So audience, I want to thank you again. Thank you, Vic, for joining us out here in Vegas. We're out here in Tennessee, Nashville. I know it's humid, but we're hot out here also.
Oh, yes, you are.
We're at 107. We're hot, scorching. Oh, man. But I appreciate your presence and sharing your wisdom. The audience, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. You guys could have been anywhere and you chose to be with us. First things first, make sure sense of urgency, you're aware of it, and also mind over matter, and take that well-deserved break. Take it. All right, Vic, take care. I'll see you later, and I'm going to tune into your podcast also, okay?
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Good night, man. You take care.
You too now.